Data is a absolute monster of a weapon when you know how to utilize it, right? The first thing I wanted to do was plug that information about who those 98 visitors are that never gave me their contact or never opted in and become a lead. Our costs per lead dropped by like 30-40%. And then as we got our data a little bit higher quality, a little bit more accurate, it started creeping up towards 60%.
So hello everyone, this is Forrest, and I decided to invite him on a call with me because my YouTube channel is all about data and analytics, and he and his team is actually building a quite interesting product involving data and AI. And on this call, we are going to talk about this product. So Forrest, I'll give you the stage to briefly introduce yourself.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, in a nutshell, I'm coming from the digital marketing world and trying to basically bridge our two worlds together because no one really taught me data and analytics. And that's a incredibly important piece of what we're trying to do for marketing. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, we're just trying to create this very smooth bridge from marketing and data. And yeah, it's been a little bit of a wild ride, but here we are.
Yes, you have first started a marketing agency, right?
Yeah, started doing a marketing agency back in late 2016, early 2017, kind of working with really anyone that was willing to work with me, right?
Yeah, and how did you actually steer toward marketing? Is this something that you studied at university, or you studied something else and then decided to move towards marketing because it sparked your interest? And on how did this happen?
I actually had a good friend who is still doing digital marketing as well. And I was basically in a little bit of a pickle. And I mean, I wasn't in college. I was kind of in between jobs at the moment. I had also just barely moved across the country. And I mean, I was in a situation where I needed to either make something for myself or kind of go back home and try again later down the road. And so he kind of showed me some of the tools that he was using and how he was talking with potential prospects. And he said, dude, this is really easy. Trying to generate leads for people to make their own sales off of. Like, this is something you could absolutely do, and I can help you. And so I jumped right in. Did not do very well for the first couple of years, but 2020, I was actually able to go into it full time and been hammering on it ever since, trying to get a little bit better each day.
So before that, you were having your day job and you were having the marketing agency, something like a side hustle, working on them in parallel, basically, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually coming from the cold calling world. So I was sitting on the phones, cold calling people about their mortgages and saying, hey, we can get you better mortgage rates. And then I did really well doing cold calls. And so they opened up a new branch for insurance. And they basically pulled me aside and said, hey, we want you to go over here, figure out how to talk to people, what the script needs to be, and start helping us cash flow our insurance agency. And I did just that. Went over there 6 months. It was it was moving. I mean, we were probably getting, easily 15 to 20 live transfers over to our reps every day. And there was just two of us. And then we started to grow the team, hire more people. And I ended up meeting at the time, my girlfriend, now wife, and she came out to me for a summer and then went back to Virginia, followed her out. And I mean, the rest is history, really. But yeah, it was first couple of years, it was a lot of a side hustle, or a lot more of a side hustle, working a full-time job, working part-time jobs, and trying to find prospects in my downtime. So constantly trying to be busy.
I can imagine the sales skills that you got from your daily job really well transferred and helped you in the agency. for finding and
Yeah.
closing clients.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do not like cold calling people, but at the same time, it's one of those skill sets where it's like, I know I have this. And at the end of the day, like going into the next day, if I really had to, I know I can pick
Mhm.
up the phone and start getting people to trust me and listen to me and eventually purchase whatever I have. Right. It's just, I mean, it's cold calling. No one likes cold calling, right? So
Yeah, but yeah, I can imagine a stepping stone. I haven't been in the world of sales, but I recently realized that it's very nice to have it, even if you don't really sell anything. You actually are selling ideas. You're selling, pitching to different stakeholders. For example, in my world of data, or persuading your colleagues or things like that. This is basically selling, but just in a different form.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, uh, getting into the topic of Go. So the product that we will be talking about that you are developing is the avatar identity system, right? So can you explain what exactly it is and how did you decide to develop this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I decided to jump into identity resolution and website analytics to better understand my own marketing efforts. If I could bring 100 people to a website, but I only had one or two people actually provide me their information, that's great. But what about the other 98 people? Right. And so I wanted to understand how those 98 people were engaging with the website, but I also wanted to know who they actually are so that I can reach out to them through email, through a phone call, and say, hey, this is almost like a cold call, except I know that they were actually looking for XYZ solution. And so I wanted to know who those people are so that I can retarget them with my ads, but also see who our ideal customer actually is, right? Because you can learn a lot about someone's lifestyle and someone's purchasing habits just off of a few couple key pieces of data about them, right? Income, net worth, how big their house is, that kind of thing.
So it basically started as a project that you developed to help yourself and your company. And then you saw how useful it is and decided to offer it to clients as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The I mean, data is a absolute monster of a weapon when you know how to utilize it, right? I mean, you can make some pretty cool things happen when you understand the data and what data you have, right? And so once we actually started identifying people, the first thing I wanted to do was plug that information about who those 98 visitors are that never gave me their contact or never opted in and become a lead. I started feeding that back over to the advertising platform, which originally was primarily Facebook. And I mean, it took me 7 days, maybe 14 days, just creating that little feedback loop of, hey, who's here's or don't advertise to people who became a lead, advertise to these people that never became a lead but still visited our page. Our our costs per lead dropped by like 30-40%. And then as we got our data a little bit higher quality, a little bit more accurate, it started creeping up towards 60%. And so paying $100 a lead, taking that down to $40 per lead, it was very exciting to see how well the data was working for us.
Okay. And can you share with us any specific challenges in the whole customer buying journey that your platform address, and how does it help different businesses overcome them?
The biggest hurdle that we want to address with our customers is the issue of not knowing who those 98 people are and wanting and helping business owners try to have more conversations more people to reach out to and talk to, because those small things coming in every single day is going to increase sales. It's going to increase revenue simply because we have more people to talk to, right? Going from 2 people that become leads each day to 30, 40, 50 people that we can now reach out to and say, hey, we wanted to reach out. This is what we do. Here's how we can help. Do you want to talk some more? I mean, that's a massive opportunity that we bring to the table. And of course, on top of it, the savings from on the marketing effort side, it really is a no-brainer once you kind of understand how these different board pieces come together and play so nicely together, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And speaking of that, can you share with us, of course, if it's possible, any success story of a client of yours that in what ways they benefited from your platform?
Well, I mean, we're a startup, right? So a lot of our customers are still very new, still working through a lot of questions and don't really understand how. I mean, that's the number one question I am constantly addressing, which is how do you use the data to produce revenue, right? And how can we make it produce revenue quickly? But I think the best case study that we have is probably from my own marketing campaigns. We were generating life insurance leads. They were costing us about 13, 14 bucks on average. I plugged in the identity resolution stuff, or this little tracking code that we have put together to start identifying those individuals coming to our pages, and just fed that data right back over to Facebook saying, hey, these are people that are visiting our campaigns. Keep finding me more people like this. And I mean, taking the average cost per lead is $7 or $14, $13. Cutting it in half, we were down to $6, $7, floating in between there. I mean, that's doubling the amount of leads that we could produce for the average agent. So going from 70 leads during the month to 140 or more. And those are just people that opted in, right? Those aren't everyone that's ever visited the page. So yeah, it's mind-blowing. People have no idea how to react with that kind of influx of leads, or at least our individual agents, they were struggling to keep up, right? Which is great because we're saving them money because they don't have to have such a crazy large advertising budget. And it's saving us a lot of pains and hassles of trying to figure out who this audience is and not having to rely on the out-of-the-box audience that Facebook or Google provides, right? That everyone else is using. We create our own little pockets of audiences that we can advertise directly to and use that first-party data forever, right?
And perhaps if you can also track who is purchasing, and you can also try to get the demographics of that group of people that are actually becoming clients, and then try to attract more specifically people like them, not just the people that are visiting the website.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a database of everyone in the US, or at least pretty close to it. It's around 342 million records of unique individuals inside the US. And yeah, absolutely. Once we have enough people that have purchased, we're able to basically take all those records, feed it, and basically model it off of our own database. So we can keep finding new and refreshed people based off of those key demographics that we have, right? And I mean, the opportunities are just limitless, right?
Yes,
Especially AI and machine learning being able to recreate our ideal prospect or even our customers so that we can go and find our next one before they even know who we are or even know that they're in the market, right?
or even know they have or will have the problem, because I can imagine you can let's say for certain businesses, you can predict when exactly they're going to have a certain problem. For example, it's a very simple case of one for me. I'm currently looking at the market of mortgages because I'm looking for buying a home. And I didn't know I would have that problem 2 years ago. But based on my demographics, I think different companies, different businesses can predict that I can have that problem at that particular time and start offering me different solutions even before I know that I will have that problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And you bring up a very interesting point as well, which is that predictive model, right? Because how nice would it have been if a year before you entered this buying process, right? You're thinking about it, you kind of know where you are in that home buying process. But imagine if you started seeing ads saying 10 easy ways to prepare to purchase your first home. Download this ebook, right? You're
Yes,
probably going to be curious enough to like, okay, yeah, like what are these 10 things, right? And then maybe the next ad could be how to make sure you have a great mortgage officer, right? How to ask the right questions. Like, yeah, I wouldn't mind that as well. And
yes,
that same company knows that you're in the market and they can just keep you in that brand circle so that when you think of mortgages, you think of XYZ company every single time, right?
yep. And having all that data, that database, do you allow your can your clients actually download it and data analysts like me or different data scientists or ML engineers work with it? I mean, as a table or as a database?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can, of course, download everything right out of the platform. And you can also set up webhooks so that it just feeds directly into the data warehouse. It's actually on our roadmap as well, being able to essentially provide all of our users a data warehouse right out of the gate. Because, I mean, from my understanding, right, everyone should be, or with identity resolution and with website analytics, you got to be have a data warehouse first, right? And basically start creating your own library of all the data that you can capture about visitors, about how they're interacting with the website. Because from there, you have a lot more opportunities to actually put that data to work because you have it all in one place, right?
Yes, definitely. What is your let's say your target audience, or which market can benefit from the avatar identity system best? Let's say, is it companies with 0 to 50 employees, or larger companies above, let's say, 500? What is the target market? Is it only for e-commerce, or what are the different industries and different company sizes that can that are your target market and that can benefit a lot from the avatar identity system?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, and up until this morning, because I had a call with someone who is much smarter than me, thankfully, um, we've been really narrowing down on other marketing agencies. So people with my similar background, trying to work with customers and clients or these smaller businesses and basically say, hey, marketing agency, here's what we do, here's what it did for me. Are you willing to purchase it? Right.
So that basically they can use it for their clients. Is it?
Yeah, because the marketing agency is going to be able to put that data to work a lot faster and they can work with multiple businesses at once so that we just have to teach them one time and they can go and implement that strategy for all of their own customers, right? But we're a startup and cash flow is king right now simply because we're a startup, right? It's bootstrapped. And so really anyone that has a website and has a team or has something to sell, they can realistically benefit from it, right? Auto dealership. So this is actually our very first user, auto dealership. We have set up. They have 2 locations, and we say, hey, with this software, if we can help you bring in 2 more car purchases in a month, how much would you make roughly? Well, 2 more car purchases, it's going to be about 10,000 in new revenue. It's like, well, great. Here's how we can make that happen. We identify website visitors, we send the data to your sales reps so that they have more people to reach out to and talk with. And there we go. How much are you willing to pay for something like that? Right. And kind of price it off of what works best for them. We're not too picky right now because it's a startup. I'd rather have a couple people in the door than no one in the door for pricing. So,
And in terms of what you're doing and competitors, how is your database different than other similar databases out there? I haven't researched a lot about this, so I don't have from the top of my mind something similar to compare, but maybe you know more and you can tell me.
yeah, there's a good handful of competitors out there in the market, and some of them have some pretty nifty products. They can do for the yeah, some of them have some really nice UIs and it's very user friendly, and that's great, right? That's a great example for us to go after. Thankfully, we don't really have any competition with the direction that we're going though, because most of the competition that I'm aware of and that I've gone to their websites, I've gone to see what they're offering and how they want to position their users to use the data. It's very cornered. It's very limited with what a marketing agency can really do with that data because they're not looking at the full opportunity, right? And that opportunity doesn't take very much. It's not hard to see, right? Watching a couple of your videos, watching a couple of videos about what data science is, what marketing science is, and what is actually possible with data and data visualization. It's a lot more than just sending a website visitor that we were able to identify a cold email with a promotional code to come back to the website, right? It's a lot more than that. It is, I mean, cold emailing, yeah, being able to bring people back and try to save a couple purchases. That's absolutely possible. But this is also content, right? We can see how people engage with the website. We're able to create models off of the average customer that's come in the door. We can create models off of the average person coming in and engaging with the brand. We can start to create brand experiences off of the content, what resources people are downloading. And I mean, we can see keywords that are bringing people to the page, right? See keywords that we're struggling with. There's so much possibility with just understanding website analytics, yes, but also understanding who these people are. That yeah, I'm not too worried about the competition, right? I'm excited to see how they have to adjust to us as we start coming into the market.
That's a good place to be. Actually, while you were talking, I was imagining and thinking about maybe it will become reality, maybe not. Let's say in 3 or 5 or 10 years, who knows? So let's say a business having your system and also having more enhanced AI, which will be developing, I think, in faster and faster rates. So they can see, of course, it will be an automatic process, but let's say there will be visitors coming, your system will identify the avatars in a very specific, precise way, and then there could be a content generation system that can produce content that is specifically targeted to that particular very well identified group, and then published, and then attract more of these types of people, and then learn from their behavior and using that feedback loop to correct the whole algorithm. So basically the whole process could be set and automatically be adjusted.
Yeah, exactly. It yeah, it opens up the door for no longer needing Facebook, Google, no longer needing these walled gardens of data, right? We just need the platform where the users are. It also opens up the door for a lot more personalized marketing. If I'm if I'm online, I'm looking at dress shoes, and there's one particular dress shoe that I look at, and you can on the analytics you can see that hey, Forrest was looking at these shoes for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? I can then get batched into a group of people or an online audience of other people who have looked at these shoes specifically. And now after I leave without purchasing, I keep scrolling social media and there we go. Here are the shoes. And now there's a additional 10% off, right? And free shipping. Well, that's a great deal. Good thing I didn't purchase them earlier, right? Because now almost missed this sale. And so now I can jump back in, get the shoes I want. And as a customer, I feel great because I got a deal. I got the shoes I was looking for, and the business gets the win because they were able to bring me back and make me or turn me into an actual paying customer.
Yes. And continuing on that same trajectory, I wanted to discuss a little bit more about messaging and copy of the different ads. So basically, I recently were in some courses and I understood how important is the copywriting for different ads of in marketing in general. How do you communicate to prospects, to your audience, so that they understand that you on your side understand the problem and can help them. So can you tell a little bit more how can the avatar identity system help businesses in tailoring their messaging um, to their audience or audiences, and maybe provide some examples?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to probably annoy, if not piss off, a lot of people with this response. But I actually think that copywriting itself is always going to be important, right? But I think copywriting actually becomes much, much easier with identity resolution because copywriting in of itself is positioning the offer so that when a specific person sees it, they say, that's the problem I have. I can relate and they can solve it. I want to talk to them, right? As a business owner, that's how most offers are, right? I have a problem. I see an ad about someone calling the problem out, calling out their ideal prospect, which is a business owner. Hey, that's me. And we solve it. Here's how we've solved it for 10 other business owners, right? That's copywriting in a nutshell.
Yes.
Depending on the offer, right? Or depending on the agency running the ad, maybe it's, hey, we do SEO, we do Facebook ads, and we do video content, right? They can run an ad that's a little bit more generic, right? And say, hey, we help business owners with SEO, Facebook ads, and video content. Oh, well, hey, I wouldn't mind some extra help on video content. I'll click over to their video content section, read a little bit about it. Oh, they don't have the pricing on the page. I'm going to go ahead and bounce. Being identified, they now have me in a video content retarget audience. And so it's no longer about crafting an offer good enough that catches my attention. It's about highlighting my problem and helping highlighting my problem in a way that only they can solve, right? Because they know that I want video content. That's the problem I have. So they can target me specifically for that offer of video content. And the offer, assuming it's a good offer, it will sell itself, right? And they already have the perfect audience because it's everyone who went to that part of the website. And so they no longer have to put up a billboard online saying, hey, here's what we do, here's how we fix it, right? Are you our ideal prospect? It is going door to door to those ideal prospects saying, hey, here's what we do, here's how we help. You were looking for this kind of situation or this kind of problem to be solved. Can we chat? And that's a much easier conversation, a lot easier introduction than, hi, do you have this problem? Do you want to talk to me? Right.
Yes, totally makes sense. And as now with AI and in general, as the technology is evolving very rapidly, what trends do you see for the data enrichment and customer journey analysis now and in the coming years? And how do you plan to position your platform, the Avatar Identity System, in that realm?
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a big shift for marketing agencies where it's no longer about generating leads, it's no longer about generating sales on an e-commerce store, right? It's going to be about creating experiences. And we can see that starting with creators online, right? TikTok is so popular and there's a lot of great creators there. And they create a experience when you're watching those videos, right? You kind of know what to expect and know what kind of emotional roller coaster you're going to have during those videos. If we can duplicate that with a brand, we can capture and hold attention a lot longer. And so I think that's the direction that we're going towards. I think we're going towards a direction where it's brands need to be much more focused a lot more on the experience of working and using that brand rather than beating people out on price and beating people out on really anything else, right? I mean, that's why Apple has so many loyal users. That Apple experience of opening up the box, as difficult as it is, once you get that box open, it's exciting, right? And the platform itself, and I don't even care if the iPhone is the same every single year. It's an iPhone. It's easy to use. I know it. And the experience and just that community of Apple users is worth more than switching over to Android, saving a couple $100 and having a much better phone, right?
Yeah, I think they are just making maybe everything, not everything, but almost all things on a perfect level, and their branding is, I think, one of the top in the world. So
I mean, imagine if a mom and pop bakery shop down the road could create a digital experience like that, right? And highlight it to their own unique market and frequent customers and create an audience that looks like their frequent customers. That little mom and pop bakery becomes almost like a staple to the community because they can create that experience of like going to grandma's house and smelling the freshly baked bread on Sunday morning and being able to bite into that nice thick crust and it's just perfect and the bread's hot and fluffy, right? Like that, being able to make that a online experience for their audience is absolutely going to increase the foot traffic coming in because now everyone wants fresh bread and who has it? Mom and pop bakery, right?
and then for me, the interesting will be when a lot of the companies, a lot of competitors in one sphere, let's say different mom and pop bakeries have this technology and start using it, and they all start competing on that level. But of course, it almost never happens. There are first movers and then second and late movers, late adopters who will be lagging and probably will lose on the market share. It's how it usually is. So yeah.
Evolution is very real in the business world. That is
Yes, and
absolutely true.
if you don't adapt, you basically will suffer a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of stepped around it just because it's constantly on my radar. It almost doesn't even I don't even recognize it, or at least register it as much. But a big reason why identity resolution is going to be coming into a play, or at least being able to better identify and utilize first party data. Cookies are going away, right? iOS 17, I believe it is getting rid of, for Apple users, the UTM parameters are will basically not be brought over from XYZ platform. If I'm on Facebook, I see an ad, I click on it, those parameters come over in the URL so that on the analytics, they can see what campaign I'm coming in from, what platform I'm coming in from, and pretty basic campaign feedback. But cookies are going away. Google is getting rid of their third-party cookies as well, disabling a lot of those. And if businesses don't put themselves in a position where they are compliant and they are capable of capturing and understanding and utilizing that first-party data, I mean, just like the big Google boom in the early 2000s, where you could pay 10 cents for a click, and then overnight it's $1 per click. Yeah, people are going to struggle, and it's going to be pretty painful because they don't have first party data to use. They have to access or try to go to these walled gardens and beg and plead for quality data, which they're not going to get, right? Google and Facebook, they have to make money somehow, and we are the product. So they're not gonna give away the cream of the crop. They're going to say, here is just enough data and the same data, the same cup everyone else is drinking out of. Best of luck. Right. And that's where copywriting kind of comes into play in my stance of copywriting, because that's where copywriting is so incredibly important. Because everyone's drinking out of the same cup, right? You have to have something different, something that sounds fancy and snazzy. But if you can bring your own cup and make your own coffee, right? Identify your own audience and always have access to that, to your own audience. You just need a clear message about what you're offering. You don't need fancy copywriting. You just need a clear message and an audience that your competitors can't directly access in order to beat them to the punch and beat your competition to the prospects who are moving into the market but don't. Your competition doesn't know about them yet. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but
Yeah, totally. And so speaking of that, is your future goals and plans for the avatar identity system now just to try to onboard and make it known in the marketing world more and attract more leads and then convert them to sales, to start having more agencies use it, more clients use it? I guess that will be your priority now. But do you also plan to add additional data points to it? And what are in general, the plans for the future development?
yeah, that's a great question, a very loaded question. And there's a lot on our roadmap. So first and foremost is bringing visitor profiles, or those matched visitors, to our users, right? And actually helping them put that data to work. And the second, so we have that up and running. As we keep bringing in more customers, we're going to make a shift back over to beefing up our product. And so we're going to have, I mean, I'm not going to get into the whole list of the web analytics that we're going to be getting into and utilizing, but the biggest ones that people are excited for are heat maps and actual screen recordings of those visitors engaging with the website and hanging out on the domain. Because that's going to, if you identify, hey, Forrest came over to this website and he was looking at these shoes and he was on this page for 20 minutes, like, what am I clicking on? Where, like, what am I reading? And you can watch me you can actually see what my device screen looks like and how fast I'm scrolling, what paragraphs I'm probably reading, where I'm clicking. And now you can now start to put more easy, you can put purchase buttons, right? You can put resources, you can make things shorter, make things longer, put things above the fold, put things below the fold. You can just, it opens up the door to A/B testing a lot more and trying to improve that conversion rate optimization.
Yes, totally.
One feature that I am actually very excited about, and I think we talked a little bit about it last time as well, but actually using AI to create customer avatars. And this isn't like a new fancy practice. Any enterprise, any medium-sized company does this, where they have basically some sort of picture of their average customer, and that average customer has character traits, it has a lifestyle traits, it has past history or past purchase history traits, and we're going to get to the point where we can actually recreate that average customer because we have all those data points. And with AI, you can actually create a interactive avatar so that it has a set of character traits, it has personality traits, and these can all match the demographic information that we have on the sum of the average customer, so that as a business owner or as a product manager, I can actually sit down, look at my average customer avatar, and have some sort of conversation or some sort of engagement and learn about what is a good product to offer, what is not a good product to offer, and what that customer would like to be able to do versus what we can currently do. Yeah, I'm very excited about that. It's down the road a ways, probably still like a year and a half, maybe even 2 years out, but it's exciting to think about, right? And it's even more exciting to think about how much farther AI will get during these next couple of years, because there's a lot of stuff coming out with AI and it is really taking off.
Yes, the thing that you just explained, I think will be very, very interesting to communicate with chat, maybe even having a conversation with your target audience, with your buyer's persona, will be terrific for marketers and for business owners as well. So Forrest, thank you very much for your time that you dedicated and for answering my question and for explaining the avatar identity system. If you want to share anything else, you can do now, or if not, we can wrap it up for now. And I think because the avatar identity system will be developing in future, we can also schedule other calls where we can talk about its development and also the development of AI and data analytics in marketing. But as I said, thank you very much. I think my audience will very much appreciate this call. And if you have anything else to add, if I forget to ask you something important that you want to share, feel free to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on. I'm very happy that we were able to connect and have this conversation. And yeah, if anyone wants to connect with me on social media, I'm pretty easy to find on Instagram. It's my first name dot last name, so Forrest with 2 R's dot adsit, ADSIT. You guys can come visit our website as well, pixelfox.co. And if you guys are interested in wanting to utilize identity resolution for your own marketing efforts, please come book an appointment. You'll probably get to sit down with me because we are a startup and I'm handling most of our calls right now. So I'd love to connect with some of you guys and see how we can help. And you can find me on YouTube as well. Same first name, last name. It's a unique one, so it's not taken in very many spots, which I'm thankful for.
And
but again,
this link
thank you
will
for having
become,
me.
sorry. The pleasure was mine. I just wanted to say that I will put these links down in the description so that it's easier for people to just click and navigate to your social media. I can also add a link to your LinkedIn profile and all the others one that you described so that they can find you easily.
Fantastic. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for letting me come on and talk your guys' ear off about identity resolution and marketing.
Thank you and see you later.